Minecraft Story Mode. This is one of the latest games from Telltale, an adventure game company. They split long stories into episodes, and that's what this is. It's a complete story broken up. Actually, it's the complete story and 3 DLC episodes. This company takes popular shows and movies and creates adventure games out of them. They have 2 different ways of making their adventure games. The tried and true, super long and convoluted ways of solving a puzzle adventure game. See their take on the Monkey Island series or the Back to the Future series. The one where they have like the minimal plot and they're like, oh, what can we put in there to slow down the player's progress? Like if you're trying to talk to somebody but they won't talk to you because of reasons, you have to get them their special toy they had when they were growing up. You have to go to other people who will tell you what their favorite toy was, but only if you do a favor for them. And then when you go to the house, the toy is locked behind a puzzle box because of course it is. And then if you do unlock that puzzle box and you get the toy and you give it to the person, they'll give you one part of the clue. That sort of adventure game where it's like, you can't just go from point A to point B. You have to go to point A through point Q. Then there's the more cinematic kind, where actually playing the game a lot of the time comes down to moving the character in QuickTime events, with very minimal adventuring, but way more story to these. This is the latter. It's kind of like Minecraft for dummies, or as I like to call it, Minecraft for me, since I actually enjoyed this. I could see people who played Minecraft being kind of annoyed by the gameplay, as the actual crafting part of this is very minimal. They do have you making structures or items to interact with the environment, but most of the time it was just keep pressing the B button to build and it would auto build. As for someone who's not good at Minecraft, I appreciate that. But I like Minecraft. I liked it so much it was number 3 on my top 10 best list of 2016. But while I liked it for the Wii U, I was very clear that I was terrible at the game. But I did put it high on my top 10 list, not because I was really great at it, but because it really deserved to be there. There are a lot of references to deeper parts of Minecraft and the enemies that you encounter in this game that I just didn't get, because I think it's like later in the Minecraft game itself. But my son sure did, and he tried to explain it to me whenever they came up. The story is about Jesse, who's voiced by the always delightful Patton Oswalt, if you choose to be a boy, or Catherine Tabor if you're a girl. I played as the boy, so I don't know how she does on the dialogue, but I have to assume she does just as good a job. He and his friends go to build something for EnderCon. It's a building competition. They're rivals with another team, and when it looks like they might actually win this year, one of the rivals accidentally sets fire to their creation, scaring away your character's pet pig. And you have to retrieve that pig. And I was assuming this is basically the brunt of episode 1, but no. It doesn't take as much time as you might expect. Then you meet up with another girl named Petra who needs your help with a deal. It goes sour, something happens that makes a creation that sucks up all the blocks and people. They have to go on a quest to find the Order of the Stone, as they might be able to stop this ravenous creature from destroying the world. Okay, that was just a very quick synopsis of the plot, as the first episode actually had a lot of story plot to get through. And the stories and characters will change depending on the choices that you make and the way you treat the other characters. I don't think these choices are too substantial. Usually it just changes the way that the characters treat you, but does give a sense of replay, which was nice. The episode length seemed to vary a lot. For example, the first episode lasted me around 2 hours, and I was expecting this to be the baseline. Imagine me surprised when the second episode barely clocked in at over an hour, and the third was about an hour and a half. Those are just examples. They vary depending on the episode. It also controlled a little odd. If you didn't use the touchscreen, you could use the buttons to do the QuickTime events and easily move around the environment. However, to actually select objects, it was such a pain, as you had to use the right analog stick as a pointer, and it was so slow to do that. If it was better controlled, I would just say stick with this way. But there was also the touchscreen controls. You can hold down on the touchscreen to move your character, which worked okay. When you press on the touchscreen, it would bring up all the clickable objects. And to do QuickTime events, you have to keep pressing on the spot where they want it on the touchscreen. One of the more annoying things is that when you use the touchscreen, they would put up a touchscreen border on the screen. And that would kind of take me out of the story. Why is this needed? You could easily just press a button on the directional pad to get rid of it, but then the game thinks you want to use the buttons instead. In the end, I actually decided to use both of the control schemes. It was a balancing act of knowing when to use the touchscreen controls, then getting rid of the border, then using button controls for the QuickTime events. It was annoying to have to put up with, but it's far from a deal breaker. The actual gameplay part of this was very simple. There was usually only a few things to click on, so figuring out the puzzles was easy enough to do. Plus, there were sometimes different ways of completing the objective, or a decision might change things up and you might have to do things differently. Some of these decisions are actually brought up at the end of the episode, and they show you if you followed what most of the players of this game did, or if you went against the crowd. It was actually an interesting treat to see if you were part of the slim group who took a different direction to the events. When it came to crafting, there was a very limited amount of things things to craft. But it was easy enough to do. Place the objects on the crafting table in the right places and it will make the correct objects. There was a little guide on the corner to show you what you could craft. But crafting was never really a big thing in this game. Also, they show a recap and a preview for the next episode at the beginning or end of almost every episode. Like you're gonna forget what happened 10 seconds ago when you were playing episode 3 to episode 4. Or they're gonna give you spoilers for something you're gonna probably play in the next 10 minutes. It felt like those things should have been pulled out of the game. I know this is an episodic game and it originally came out in different months, but for this release they should have just cut that stuff out. Minecraft Story Mode was much more fun than I expected. Graphically it looked pretty good for a Minecraft game. It did a good job of recreating Minecraft and putting an adventure in it with a story that you might actually want to finish. The main game takes about 6 to 7 hours to beat, with the DLC mini story another 4. However, like I mentioned, there are different paths to change the story, and different ways you could treat the characters to change up the action. So I do think it's worth a buy.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Ah!
My poultry! My precious poultry!
Your eyes closed, they will peck at your eye. Ah! Oh!
Now's our chance.